The Vordaxian scout ship floated quietly at the edge of Epsilon Sector. Its gray hull blended with the dark space around it. Fleet Commander Tula stood on the bridge, her thin blue fingers tapping on the command console. The strange ship that appeared 3 days ago still puzzled her. "Magnify view," she ordered. The main screen showed a better image of the unknown vessel. It had an odd shape, part cylinder, part disc, with wings that extended from its middle section. Small lights blinked along its hull. "No match in our database, Commander," reported Navigator Dory. His voice trembled slightly. Tula's antennae twitched with curiosity. The ship didn't look very advanced. Its hull appeared to be made of basic metals. No shimmer of force fields could be seen. Yet something about it made her nervous. "Science Officer Meru, prepare for a deep scan," she commanded. Meru turned all 4 of his eyes toward her. "Commander, regulations clearly forbid deep scans of unknown vessels without permission. It could be seen as an act of aggression." Tula waved her hand dismissively. "I take full responsibility. We need to know what we're dealing with." The bridge crew exchanged worried glances. The Vordaxian exploration fleet had strict rules about first contact. Their species had learned painful lessons from rushing into unknown situations. "Begin scan," Tula insisted. Meru sighed and pressed his hands against the scanning console. Beams of invisible energy shot out from the Vordaxian ship, penetrating the hull of the strange vessel. "Scan in progress," Meru announced. "Getting preliminary data now." The bridge crew waited in silence. Outside, stars twinkled in the emptiness of space. The unknown ship continued its slow drift through the sector. Suddenly, Meru gasped. His normally pale blue skin turned almost white. "Commander, this ship, it's called the UES Athena according to its identification markers." "Go on," Tula urged. "Its weapon systems." Meru's voice faltered. "They're beyond our classification scales. I'm detecting energy weapons that could tear through our strongest shields. And something else. Possibly antimatter torpedoes." The bridge fell silent. Antimatter weapons were theoretical in Vordaxian science. No species they had encountered possessed such technology. "What about life forms?" Tula asked, her voice quieter now. Meru adjusted the scan parameters. "That's even stranger. I'm detecting multiple species aboard, at least 7 different biological signatures. They appear to be living together." This shocked the crew even more than the weapons. In their experience, different species rarely coexisted peacefully on the same vessel. "And the dominant species?" Tula pressed. Meru's fingers flew over the console. "Bipedal, internal skeleton, omnivorous digestive system." He paused. "Commander, they show biological markers consistent with apex predators. Sharp incisors, forward-facing eyes, highly developed frontal brain lobes." "Predators?" whispered Communications Officer Lani. "As ship commanders." The Vordaxians came from a herbivore species that had evolved intelligence as a survival mechanism. The idea of predators achieving space travel terrified them on a primal level. "Continue the scan," Tula ordered, though her voice now carried a hint of fear. The scan penetrated deeper into the human ship. Visual data started appearing on the screens. The crew watched in horror as images showed the daily activities aboard the Athena. Humans lifted heavy objects without mechanical assistance. They exercised by deliberately stressing their muscles to the point of pain. In the mess hall, they consumed both plant matter and synthesized animal protein. "Look at the environmental readings," Meru pointed out. "These beings are handling temperature variations that would kill most sentient species. And this section here shows radiation levels that would be harmful to us." The most disturbing images showed humans training in combat situations. They moved with frightening speed and precision, striking practice targets with devastating force. "They're warriors," Lani whispered. As the scan continued to probe deeper into the ship's systems, something unexpected happened. The previously dormant vessel suddenly came to life. Lights flashed along its hull. Energy readings spiked. On the screens, they could see red lights flashing inside the human vessel. The bipedal creatures moved with sudden purpose, rushing to stations with practiced efficiency. Alarm klaxons blared through the human ship. The predators were mobilizing. "They've detected our scan," Meru said, frantically trying to disengage the scanning beam. "Impossible," Tula replied. "Our scanning technology is undetectable to—" The main screen suddenly flickered. The image of the human ship disappeared, replaced by the face of one of the bipedal creatures. Its bare skin showed no scales or protective covering. Its forward-facing eyes stared directly at them like a hunter spotting prey. "This is Captain Han of the United Earthship Athena," it said in a calm voice that somehow made it even more terrifying. "You have performed an unauthorized scan of our vessel. Identify yourselves immediately." "They've found us," Tula whispered. Captain Hana sat in her command chair on the bridge of the UES Athena. Her dark hair was pulled back in a neat bun, and her uniform was crisp despite being 5 days into their patrol mission. The bridge hummed with quiet activity as crew members monitored their stations. "Still there, Captain," said Officer Wan at the sensor station. "The alien vessel has maintained position for 3 days now." Hana nodded. She wasn't worried. The Athena's advanced detection systems had spotted the strange ship almost immediately after it entered the sector. Human protocol was clear: observe first, then make contact if necessary. "They think we don't see them," she said with a small smile. "Let's continue to monitor." The bridge crew worked quietly. The Athena was Earth's newest exploratory warship, designed for first contact situations just like this one. Its crew was handpicked from the best Earth had to offer. Lieutenant Day at the tactical station suddenly straightened in his chair. "Captain, they're scanning us. Full spectrum analysis penetrating all decks." Hana didn't appear surprised. She had expected this. New species were always curious, sometimes reckless. "Atlas, threat assessment, please." The ship's artificial intelligence responded in a calm, gender-neutral voice. "Scan shows basic exploration. Patterns. Energy signature indicates technology approximately 50 years behind current Earth standards. Weapons detected but not powered. Assessment. Curiosity rather than hostile intent." "Thank you, Atlas," Hana said. She considered her options briefly. "Sound yellow alert, but keep it quiet. No need to alarm our visitors more than necessary." Soft, yellow lights began to glow around the bridge, but no alarm sounded. Crew members moved with practiced efficiency to their alert stations. "Officer Day, let them complete their scan. Let's see what they're interested in." Day looked concerned. "Captain, they're accessing details of our weapon systems." "That's fine," Hana replied. "Most of what they'll see is outdated information anyway. Our real capabilities are shielded." The bridge crew monitored the alien scan as it moved through their ship. They watched through internal sensors as it analyzed the crew quarters, mess hall, and training facilities. "They seem particularly interested in our biology," commented Medical Officer Jin. Hana nodded. "Many species we've encountered find humans unsettling." After several minutes, Day reported, "Their scan is going deeper, Captain. They're trying to access our main computer now." "That's enough," Hana decided. "Officer Yi, open a channel to the alien vessel." On the Vordaxian scout ship, panic erupted as their view screen suddenly activated. The face of a human female appeared, looking directly at them, as if she could see through their hull into their command center. "This is Captain Hana of the United Earthship Athena," she said calmly. "You've conducted an unauthorized scan of our vessel. We request identification and purpose." Fleet Commander Tula felt her inner eyelids close reflexively in fear. The human had detected their scan and knew exactly where to direct her message. Worse, the casual tone suggested they had known about the Vordaxian presence all along. "How did they find us?" whispered Navigator Dory. "And how long have they known we were here?" added Science Officer Meru, his voice trembling. Tula forced herself to appear calm. She straightened her posture and faced the communication screen. "I am Fleet Commander Tula of the Vordaxian Exploration Division. We meant no offense with our scan. We are peaceful explorers from the Vordaxian Collective." On the Athena, Captain Hana listened to the response with interest. Atlas provided an instant translation. Their body language indicates extreme stress, Officer Jin observed quietly. Hana nodded slightly. Let's ease their concerns. She turned back to the screen. We also come in peace, Commander Tula. We detected your vessel 3 days ago and have been observing according to our first contact protocols. The statement sent another wave of shock through the Vordaxian crew. Their stealth technology was among the best in their region of space. Perhaps, Hana continued, a diplomatic exchange would benefit us both. We extend an invitation for a small delegation to visit our vessel. Before Tula could respond, Captain Hana added, to demonstrate our peaceful intentions, I'll have my crew perform standard arrival protocols. She turned slightly. Lieutenant Day, prepare the ship for visitors. The humans on the view screen suddenly burst into coordinated action. Each moved to their station with swift precision. Status reports were called out in calm, measured tones. Weapon systems were visibly powered down. A well-rehearsed dance of efficiency unfolded before the watching Vordaxians. To the alien observers, it looked like a military drill performed by perfect warriors. What Captain Hana had meant as a reassuring display of professional courtesy, the Vordaxians interpreted as a terrifying demonstration of combat readiness. Did you see how fast they moved? Whispered Communications Officer Lani. Complete coordination, added Meru. No hesitation. Tula swallowed hard. These humans hadn't just detected their presence. They had been watching and waiting all along, and now they were inviting the Vordaxians aboard their vessel. Was it a diplomatic gesture or a trap? Commander? Prompted Science Officer Meru. What should we do? Tula stared at the human captain's face on the screen. Those predator eyes looked back without blinking. We accept your invitation, she finally said, hoping it wasn't a terrible mistake. The small team of Vordaxians stood nervously at the airlock entrance. Fleet Commander Tula led the group, which included Science Officer Meru, Ship Engineer Pala, and Medical Officer Navi. All four felt their hearts beating faster than normal. Remember, Tula whispered to her team, show no fear. These humans must not sense weakness. The airlock door slid open with a soft hiss. Standing on the other side were 3 humans in blue uniforms. The one in the middle, clearly the leader, stepped forward. Welcome aboard the UES Athena, said Captain Hana with a small bow. I'm Captain Hana. This is my security chief June and Lieutenant Kwan. The Vordaxians were immediately struck by how tall the humans were. Each stood at least a head taller than the tallest Vordaxian. Their skin colors varied from light to dark brown, and their body postures seemed relaxed yet alert. Thank you for your hospitality, said Tula, trying to keep her voice steady. We are honored to be your first Vordaxian visitors. As they moved from the airlock into the main corridor, the aliens tried not to show their nervousness. The hallway was well lit, with walls of white and blue. The floor vibrated slightly from the ship's engines. Our first stop is engineering, said Captain Hana. Then we'll show you our recreation areas and mess hall. The engineering section was a large room filled with humming machinery. As they entered, a human crew member was lifting a large metal box. The Vordaxian engineer Pala gasped audibly as she watched the human lift what would require at least 3 Vordaxians to move. Is everything okay? Asked Security Chief June, noticing her reaction. That unit, Pala said, pointing at the box. How can he lift it alone? The humans exchanged glances. Our gravity is set to Earth standard, explained June. We can adjust. If it's uncomfortable for you. Tula quickly responded. That won't be necessary, we can adapt. She would not admit that the Vordaxians were struggling with the stronger gravity. They continued the tour, moving through corridors filled with busy crew members. Science Officer Meru noted with surprise how humans of clearly different regional origins worked side by side. Your crew comes from different tribes? He asked Captain Hana. Not tribes, Hana corrected gently. Nations. Earth has many nations, but we all work together in space. This concept amazed the Vordaxians. Their society was strictly hierarchical, with different regions rarely mixing personnel. The recreation area was their next stop. It was a large room with exercise equipment and open mats. Two humans were on one of the mats, engaged in what looked like combat. They struck at each other with controlled punches and kicks. "Are they fighting?" asked Medical Officer Navi, alarmed. Lieutenant Quan laughed. "No, just sparring. It's how we practice combat skills and stay fit." "You do this for pleasure?" asked Meru, his four eyes wide with horror. "It builds strength and reflexes," Quan replied with a smile. "Would you like to try?" All four Vordaxians quickly shook their heads. As they watched, one human flipped the other onto the mat with a loud thud. The fallen human immediately jumped back up, laughing. "That would break our bones," whispered Pala to Tula. Captain Hana led them next to the mess hall. It was mealtime, and many humans sat eating at tables. The Vordaxians watched with fascination and disgust as the humans consumed their food. "They eat plants and meat together," observed Navi quietly, just as our scan showed. On one plate, they could see green vegetables next to what appeared to be some kind of cooked animal protein. The human ate both with equal enjoyment. "Would you like to try some food?" offered Captain Hana. "Our digestive systems are quite different," Tula declined politely. "But thank you." As they stood observing, a power coupling in the wall suddenly sparked and burst. A small explosion of electrical energy shot out toward where Engineer Pala was standing. Before anyone could react, Lieutenant Quan jumped forward and placed himself between Pala and the sparking panel. He shielded her with his body as maintenance. Crew rushed to shut down the power. When it was over, Pala stared at the human in confusion. "Why did you protect me?" she asked. Lieutenant Quan looked equally confused by her question. "It's just what we do," he said simply. The Vordaxians looked at each other in surprise. This predator species had just shown protective instinct toward an alien they had just met. As they continued their tour, Tula noticed other details that contradicted their expectations. The humans maintained strict weapon safety protocols. They spoke softly when not giving commands. They smiled often, showing those frightening teeth, but somehow it didn't seem threatening. "Their medical bay is next," Captain Hana announced. When they entered the sterile white room, Medical Officer Navi immediately noticed advanced equipment. A human doctor was treating a crew member with a burn on his arm. "This is our chief medical Officer Bay," introduced Captain Hana. Dr. Bay nodded politely but continued working. "Hold still," he told his patient. "This will sting a bit." The Vordaxians watched as the injured human barely reacted to what appeared to be a painful treatment. "Your pain tolerance is remarkable," Navi commented. "Humans adapt to pain," Dr. Bay responded. "We evolved that way." As they left the medical bay, Science Officer Meru whispered to Tula, "These creatures evolved as predators but developed medicine and compassion. How is that possible?" Tula had no answer. The humans were nothing like what they had expected. They were stronger, faster, and more durable than Vordaxians. They were clearly built for fighting, yet they had shown kindness and restraint. The most frightening thing about humans, Tula was beginning to realize, wasn't their physical capabilities. It was how unpredictable they were. The Vordaxian delegation followed Captain Hana through another set of sliding doors. They entered a large room, with high ceilings and dark walls. In the center was a glowing three-dimensional display showing small ships moving in space. "This is our tactical training center," said Commander Sun, a tall human with short black hair. "Here we practice battle strategies and emergency responses." Tula and her team moved closer to watch. Around the room, human crew members sat at control stations. They called out reports and commands to each other as they moved virtual ships on the display. "What are they doing?" asked Science Officer Meru. "They're in the middle of a simulation," Commander Sun explained. "Blue team is defending a space station. Red team is trying to capture it." The Vordaxians watched with growing concern as the virtual battle unfolded. The human ships moved in ways that made no logical sense to them. Instead of maintaining formation, the ships broke into small groups. They used asteroids and planetary bodies for cover. Some ships deliberately flew into Danger zones to draw enemy fire. Why are they splitting up their forces? Asked Tula. That violates basic military doctrine. Commander Sun smiled. Sometimes the unexpected move is the winning move. On the display, a small group of blue ships suddenly emerged from behind a moon. They attacked the red ships from behind, while the main battle continued in front. The surprise attack quickly turned the tide of the simulation. "Victory to Blue Team," announced a computer voice. The humans in the room cheered. Some shook hands while others made notes on their devices. "That tactic should not have worked," said Meru, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly. "It defied all strategic logic." "Humans have a saying," replied Commander Sun. "Sometimes you need to think outside the box." Tula didn't understand the saying, but she understood what she had seen. These humans fought with a chaotic style that would be impossible to predict. They seemed to thrive in disorder. Captain Hana guided them to a different area of the room. Here, individual humans stood in small chambers wearing special helmets. "This is our combat simulator," she explained. Crew members train for various scenarios. Through transparent walls, the Vordaxians could see humans moving their arms and legs as if fighting invisible enemies. Some used hand weapons, while others practiced unarmed combat. "May we observe more closely?" asked Tula. Captain Hana nodded and led them to a monitoring station. On the screen, they could see what one human was seeing through his helmet. He was in a simulated corridor fighting against 3 enemies. Despite being outnumbered, the human moved with incredible speed. He ducked, jumped, and struck with precision. "Your reflexes are remarkable," observed Medical Officer Navi. "Humans evolved as pursuit predators," Captain Hana explained. "Our ancestors chased prey for days until it tired. We're built for endurance and adaptability." Tula watched the simulation with growing unease. The humans' movements were too fast, too efficient. If these creatures ever turned their abilities against the Vordaxian people, "Your species seems designed for war," she said quietly. Captain Hana's expression grew serious. "No, Commander Tula. We prefer peace. But our history taught us to be prepared for its absence. We call it peace through strength." The Vordaxians exchanged nervous glances. This philosophy was troubling. A species with such combat capabilities that actively prepared for war was a dangerous thing indeed. As they continued to watch the training simulations, Tula noticed something else. The humans never struck killing blows in their practice. They restrained their attacks at the last moment. "Why do they hold back?" she asked Commander Sun. "Training is about control," he replied. "Anyone can kill. The real skill is knowing when not to." This concept surprised Tula. In Vordaxian training, efficiency was valued above all else. The idea of deliberately practicing restraint was foreign to them. The tour continued to another section where humans were studying star maps and ship designs. They were analyzing the weaknesses and strengths of various vessels. "These ships aren't in our database," said Engineer Pala, looking at the strange designs. "They're from species we've encountered in our explorations," explained Captain Hana. "We study everyone we meet." Suddenly, Officer Lani from the Vordaxian ship pushed through the delegation. "Commander Tula," she said urgently, "message from High Command." Tula stepped aside to read the message on Lani's portable screen. "Return immediately. Humans classified as potential threat. Diplomatic contact not authorized." Tula felt her heart's race. High Command was ordering them to break contact and return to Vordaxian space. It was a direct order that she couldn't ignore. But as she looked around the room at the humans practicing their battle skills, she felt doubt. Yes, these creatures were dangerous. Their strength, speed, and tactical abilities made them formidable, potential enemies. Yet she had also seen them show restraint. She had witnessed their protective instincts extend even to aliens like herself. Lieutenant Kwan had shielded Engineer Pala without hesitation. "Is everything all right, Commander?" asked. Captain Hana, noticing her distress, Tula hesitated. These humans were indeed dangerous, but she was beginning to think they might be more valuable as allies than enemies. If the Vordaxians left now, They would lose the chance to establish relations with this powerful species. "Everything is fine," she lied. "Just a status update from my ship." She needed more time to decide what to do. Breaking contact as ordered was the safe choice, but perhaps not the right one. "Captain Hana," she said, making a decision that might end her career, "I would like to learn more about your tactical doctrine. Perhaps we could discuss potential cooperation between our species." Captain Hana smiled, showing her predator teeth. "I think that's an excellent idea, Commander." Tula was still thinking about her difficult choice when loud alarms started ringing throughout the human ship. Red lights flashed in the hallways. The calm humans suddenly changed. They moved faster, and their faces became serious. "Captain to the bridge," said a voice over the speakers. Captain Hana touched a small device on her uniform. "Report. Krell battle cruiser just dropped out of FTL," said the voice of Officer Day. "They're charging weapons." The Vordaxians looked at each other in fear. Everyone in this part of space knew about the Krell Dominion. They were cruel warriors who took slaves and stole resources from weaker species. "Who are the Krell?" asked Commander Sun, noticing their reaction. "Bad people," said Tula simply. "They attack smaller ships and take prisoners." Captain Hana nodded. "Commander Tula, please come with me to the bridge. Your team can stay in our safe room if you prefer." QD will come with you," Tula decided. She wanted to see how these humans handled a real threat. They rushed to the bridge. The humans moved quickly but didn't panic. When they reached the command center, a large screen showed a dark, pointed ship approaching. "Krell battle cruiser is scanning us," reported Officer Wan. "They're also targeting the Vordaxian scout ship." Tula felt her heart sink. Her small ship had almost no weapons. It couldn't fight a Krell cruiser. "They're sending a message," said Communications Officer Yi. A harsh voice filled the room. "Human vessel and Vordaxian craft. This is Commander Grax of the Krell Dominion. Surrender now or be destroyed." Tula stepped forward. "Captain, my ship has no chance against them. We should—" Captain Hana held up her hand. "Get your people to safety, Commander Tula. We'll handle this." Her voice was calm, but firm. There was no fear in her eyes. "Officer Day, battle stations. All crew to combat positions. Shields at maximum," ordered Captain Hana. The bridge burst into activity. Crew members called out status reports as they prepared for battle. "Should we try to run?" asked Engineer Pala in a whisper. Before Tula could answer, the Krell ship fired. A bright beam of energy shot toward the Vordaxian scout ship, but it never hit. Something invisible stopped it. "Extended shields holding," reported Officer Day. "The Vordaxian ship is protected." Tula stared in amazement. The humans had extended their shields to protect her ship. It would weaken their own defenses to do this. "Return. Fire," ordered Captain Hana. "Target their weapon systems only." What happened next shocked the Vordaxians. The human ship moved with incredible speed and grace. It fired weapons that hadn't appeared on their earlier scans. Blue beams cut through space and hit the Krell ship with perfect accuracy. "First weapons array disabled," reported Officer Day. The Krell ship turned to fire again, but the human ship was already moving to a new position. "They're trying to flank us," said Commander Sun. Captain Hana nodded. "Just like in the simulation. Officer 1, execute Maneuver Delta." The human ship suddenly accelerated and spun in a way that should have been impossible for its size. It ended, up behind the Krell cruiser, and fired again. "Their engines are damaged," reported Officer Day. "They're launching boarding pods." Small objects shot out from the Krell ship toward the Athena. "Boarding defense teams to sections 4, 7, and 9, ordered Security Chief June through his communicator. One pod hit the ship with a loud crash. Alarms sounded from a lower deck. "They've breached Deck 5, reported Officer Yi. Captain Hana turned to Tula. "Stay here. It's safer." But Tula wanted to see. She followed Security Chief June and a team of humans to the lower deck. The other Vordaxians came too, despite their fear. When they reached Deck 5, they saw 6 Krell warriors. They were tall with gray skin and heavy armor. They carried energy weapons and looked very dangerous. The human defense team didn't hesitate. They attacked with both weapons and hand-to-hand combat. Lieutenant Quan moved faster than Tula thought possible. He knocked down 2 Krell warriors before they could even aim their weapons. The fight was over in minutes. All the Krell were captured or knocked unconscious. No humans died, though 2 were injured. "Amazing," whispered Science Officer Maru. They returned to the bridge just as the Krell ship was retreating. Its engines were smoking and several sections were damaged. "They're jumping to FTL," reported Officer Wan. "They're gone." A cheer went up from the human crew. Captain Hana allowed herself a small smile before checking on the injured crew members. When things calmed down, Tula approached Captain Hana on the bridge. "Why did you protect us?" she asked. "You risked your ship to extend shields over ours." "Captain," Hana looked surprised by the question. "Same reason my crew member protected yours earlier," she replied simply. "It's what we do." Tula stared at the human captain. She finally understood something important. What made humans truly terrifying wasn't just their strength or their advanced weapons. It wasn't even their predator instincts. It was their willingness to fight for others with the same fierceness they fought for themselves. The Vordaxians had always seen predator species as selfish and dangerous. But these humans used their strength to protect, not just to hunt. "Perhaps," Tula said slowly, "we should discuss an alliance." Captain Hana smiled. "I thought you'd never ask." Officer Yi approached with a communication device. "Commander Tula, your high command is demanding to know what happened." Tula took the device. She would have a lot of explaining to do. High command had ordered her to avoid contact with the humans. Instead, she was proposing an alliance. But she had seen what humans could do. She had watched them fight to protect her ship when they could have saved themselves more easily by leaving the Vordaxians behind. "I will tell them we have found something rare in this galaxy," she said. "Dangerous friends." Captain Hana extended her hand in the human greeting gesture. Tula reached out her blue hand and took it carefully. The scariest predators in the galaxy had just become their allies. Other species would soon learn that threatening the Vordaxian collective meant dealing with humanity too, and that was truly terrifying news for their enemies.